Happy video day, guys. I am so excited today. You don't even know how excited I am. I picked up the brand new Natasha Denona Triochrome. Now, I thought that this was going to be available in stores November 6th, but I was able to get it today. So I am so excited. I went over to Sephora, got it in my hands, and it is right here, and I cannot wait to share with you guys my thoughts. I've been sitting here playing with it for quite a while. I think I've used almost every single color, and then of course I created this final eye look to kind of just give you guys the 411 and everything on it. I'm going to be really getting into this palette with you guys. I'm going to tell you everything about it. We're going to be swatching it. I'm going to show you all the daylight swatches that I have. Of course, I'll show you this eye look, and I've got a lot of thoughts about this palette. So if you guys are excited, don't forget to leave me comments and like this video. And of course, if you're new, hi, I'm Christina Brooke. I would love it if you'd want to join the family and hit the subscribe button. I hope you want to see me again because I would love to see you again. So let's go ahead and let's get right into everything about the palette right now. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and let's get right into the Triochrome. Like I have been doing, we're gonna jump right into the review. I go ahead and tell you guys all my thoughts. If you guys wanna know how I got this eye look, that will be at the end of the video. If you stick around till the end, I will be showing you guys step by step how to create this look. But let's get into the palette. That's what you guys wanna know, right? You wanna know if this is worth $129 and whether you should pick it up. Do you guys hear the birds? What is going on? This is the much anticipated Natasha Denona Triochrome palette. This palette actually retails $129 US. It is the larger size. So this isn't the midi, you know, the smaller $65 ones. This is the bigger ones. This is like the Safari palette. This is larger pans. It's a pretty nice size palette, and it is part of her holiday 2020 launch. So the cool thing about this is Natasha Denona is bringing us some multi-chromes is what she's calling them. And they are these three right down the line right here. So that is basically the thing with this palette. That's why it's called Triochrome, because it's supposed to be like, wow, you're getting these multi-chrome colors. I've got some thoughts on those multi-chromes. So on the Sephora website, it is saying that the palette provides maximum color payoff with minimal effort, and that it blends seamlessly to create very vibrant looks. And then of course it is pointing out that there is the multi-chrome shades down the center of the palette. So if you guys look at the outer packaging is actually really, really cute. You are getting that shifting looking palette. It actually shifts colors on you. And on the back, you are getting the holes so that you can go ahead and pop out the shades if you're a working professional or if you want to kind of mix and match your palettes. And in the inside, you are getting an awesome size mirror. I love Natasha Denona's palettes. I honestly think that you get such a good value for your money between the packaging layout and everything. She just really makes the stuff look really good. And then the inside, you're getting every single one of the shades. And of course, like I said before, down the center, you are getting those multi-chrome shades, which are her new formula. That is the reason that this is called Triochrome, because those are like shifting colors. And the rest of the colors inside of the palette are actually matte. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the swatches in daylight. So this is gonna show you the true color of this palette. You guys are really gonna be able to see all of the swatches. I also really wanted to try to get the Triochrome as good as possible under daylight. So I kind of swatched them really big on my arm so you guys can try to see the shift. Now, if you can't see the shift too good, it's probably because it doesn't shift that much, but you definitely could see a really good shift on that green. So definitely those are pretty much the shifts that you're going to get. So now that we've kind of gone over just like the basic details about the palette and what you're getting for your money, let's go ahead and get right into my thoughts about this palette. I have a few different ideas and different things that I want to share with you guys. I have been playing with this. I did create a few different looks just like playing with it and not finishing them off like just to like, you know, film a video and everything, but just like to get an idea of the different tones and see how they were working together. And I will have another video, or I will be using this to create a lot of different looks. I'll be sharing it on Instagram. I will also try to do something here if you guys want. But playing around with the colors that I have played with, I do have a few things that I want to share with you guys, and I think this might be kind of important. I personally think that the formula itself is very consistent with Natasha Denona's formula. If you have like the Safari palette or any of those type of palettes, you will see that the mattes in here perform very similar. Now, one of the things that I do want to tell you guys, and I think that this might be a turn off to some people, is the colors in here are very pale. So if you really look at them in the palette, they could create some interesting looks. However, it's missing a little bit of deepness for the palette. So when I was playing with a lot of these looks, I noticed that I was kind of missing those like deepening shades, like little things to add a little bit of depth to the looks. And it kind of made my looks all go a little bit too bland. Now there is a few deepening shades in here, especially like these two right here work very good for deepening. But besides that, all of the other ones are just very soft colors. I do feel like if you're buying this as an all-in-one palette, just know that I personally am thinking as of right now that this is going to be an add-on palette. I don't think that all the looks that you're going to be able to create with this are going to be completely complete just using this palette. I like the color combination. I did think it was going to be a pretty combination, and I was kind of interested in it just because I like the muted tones and the vibrancy all together. I think it was pretty interesting. However, I do notice that a lot of the vibrancy that's here is still a little bit softer. They're not deep, vibrant colors. They're softer, vibrant colors, as well as more pastel-y colors. They don't have as much depth unless you use some of these darker shades. So that's something I started to notice when I was playing with some of the looks. I almost felt like, I want to jump in another palette and get something really rich. I want to jump in another palette and get something like to really amp up this look. So like if you even use like this line right down here, when you start applying all these colors, you'll start to notice that everything just kind of just looks very one-dimensional. Like it just needs something more, which is why I would jump into this deepening green or I would jump into this purple, but you only have those two colors. So I feel like, you know, you want like that richness of maybe like a really deep purple, or you want that really deep brown, and those colors are not in here. But of course you could just grab those from another palette. But I do want to just let you guys know that, because I can't imagine people creating some looks and then just kind of being like, oh, I don't like this, it looks so bland. And I do feel like some of these all together could create something pretty bland. Even like the line here of the purples. I really like this line. I really do. I think it looks really, really gorgeous. However, in my opinion, this is probably the first palette from Natasha Denona that I feel like going down the line is not going to really make you the best looks unless you use this line right here. This line right here will create a really cool look, but I do feel like all the rest of them, when you use them together, they're just gonna look a little flat. The Triochrome multi-chromes that she has in here, there really is only one that I see a strong shift with, which is this beautiful one right here. This beautiful color right here is absolutely stunning. It also is a color that's kind of existing. This is the same color that she created in her liquid formula. It's actually the same color, just recreated into a powder formula. Now that makes sense to me because I personally think that this is the most beautiful one. I saw her release the liquid formula of this one. I thought that was the most beautiful one she released as well. So this one really is the prettiest multi-chrome in here. The other two, they shift. This one down here in the middle shifts the least. Like it's very, very minimal of a shift. Like you see it, but it's not like, wow, you know? And then this one here does shift. It's just not as much as this one. So I think out of all the Triochromes, the best one is this one down here. These two are a little bit flatter and they're not as shocking as I really thought they would be. The green one is. The green one's absolutely beautiful. Like, wow, I love it. But the other two, I thought they were gonna be like a lot more. Now I have seen people talking about like indie brands and the indie brands multi-chromes, and I've seen people show off multi-chromes from indie brands. I personally just don't own any. So I would say like I was expecting a little bit more, not even knowing how those indie brand multi-chromes are. I was expecting these to be more. So I think that kind of shows you guys that it's just not 100% there. Now, the other thing that happens too, and this is just about creating looks, when you use the rose together and you're thinking like these multi-chromes, you're gonna put them as a pop shade, they're very deep. So the problem that happens is that when you put these in like the center or you're trying to put them as an accent shade, they really flatten the look even more. The only one that has some vibrancy to it is this one. So when you put this one on, if you guys can see, it kind of adds that really nice glare and it gives you like life back and it gives you light. And sometimes when you're using these type of metallic shades, especially when there's not many lighter metallic shades, you want it to bring light back into the look. You kind of want it to pop a little bit. And I feel like the only one that really does that is this one. So these two are actually pretty deep. When you put them on, they have that shift to them, but they're not super reflective and they kind of go very deep. So they kind of dull down your look even more. And I know that some of the stuff sounds a little bit on the negative side. It's just I'm trying to tell you guys all the things that I find with this palette, and as I was using it, some of the things that kind of like made me stop a little bit, because it is a pretty expensive palette. But I am going to tell you guys, for me personally, I'm obsessed with this top row. I think this eye look that I created is astronomically beautiful. I love this Triochrome. I think it just did a beautiful job. But like I said, I'm not somebody who loves for my shadows to shift so much. So to me, this is absolutely stunning. I love the top row. The second row right here is also really, really pretty. I do think that between like these two shades right here, I think they're kind of close. I don't think that we needed both of these. I feel like she should have given us a very, very, very deep purple. And you know, this is the deepest one that we have here. I wish it was even deeper than this. I wish it was super, super, super deep. I think that would have helped this row kind of get like a real dimension. The Triochrome in this one, it has a nice shift to it, but like I said, it's so deep that when you put it as a spotlight, or if you put it in the center of your lid, you kind of dull down the look just a little bit. So I can see some people being like, I don't want to use that. I want to use something like a metallic that's a little bit lighter and a little bit more airy to kind of really bring up the look. Now, when it comes to this row right here, I feel like there was also the little issue here with these two colors right here. Even though on camera they do look different and the shades are different. Let me use my other fingers so you guys can see. And the shades are different. The problem is that when you put them on the lid, I feel like they kind of like blend into each other. I wish one of these was like a very deep brown or something very deep, or even maybe like a color like this one right here, but just very saturated, so that when I use these two together, they really contrast each other. And then this one's okay. It does shift. You guys can see that nice little shift. But like I said, because it's so deep, it kind of deepens out the look a lot. And I wish that one of these Triochromes was super light. And also another thing is, when I'm using these kind of shades, let's say they're more dulled down shades, when you go to blend them into your mattes, usually you kind of have to make everything look a little seamless. I feel like I was having a hard time making like these multi-chromes right here look seamless into the mattes, like almost like I needed an actual metallic shade that had nothing to do with these dual chromes, just a metallic shade that I can add to the end of the dual chrome to really just kind of make it look seamless into the matte. And that mostly happened with these two. These two right here were the ones that were giving me that issue. This one here, it actually blended into the matte very beautiful, and I feel like it created a seamless look. But these two, I felt like they were a little flat. So I think like if you own maybe like the Biba palette, or if you even own the bronze palette or the gold palette, those type of palettes are probably a palette you would pull out with this and use some of those shades in conjunction with this, even some of those metallics in conjunction with this. Maybe even if you just finished buying the brand new Glam palette, some of those metallics, you could probably use them as brightening shades to kind of make everything look just a little bit more seamless. If I'm having a little bit of hesitation on finishing off some of these looks, I can imagine the regular consumer that's not constantly playing with makeup like I am is probably not going to be like in love with this palette. Going into buying this palette, if you really like these colors and you think that they're so cool, I personally feel like it's going to be an add-on palette for you. Don't go into buying this thinking it's going to be your one and done palette. Like this palette right here is a similar theory that I had to the Celestial Divinity. Like the Celestial Divinity, I feel like a lot of times you're going to be using this with another palette, and you're not going to be always using it on its own. Even though I have created some nice looks with it on its own, it's just one of those that I feel like if I'm using another palette and then I want that pop, I jump in here. I feel like this one is going to do almost the same thing. Like almost like if I want to create more vibrant looks, I might just grab a few of these mattes and then maybe grab a metallic from another palette, and maybe not always use these dual chromes. And these dual chromes, just use them every once in a while, and maybe even not 100% with these mattes, maybe with some neutral mattes. So there really isn't that much variety when it comes to the metallics. I feel like Natasha either gives us a palette that's like 90% metallic and very little matte, or very matte and very little metallic. And in this case, she gave us very matte and these Triochrome shades, but she didn't give us like not even one metallic. I feel like this palette needed like maybe like two metallics. I also do not believe that the Triochromes are anything out of this universe. So if you don't like this color story, don't buy it for those Triochromes. There's only one that I think is beautiful, which is the green one. I think it's awesome. Like I love it. But the other two, I just think that they're okay. So personally, I don't think that this is my favorite palette that Natasha Denona has released. I do think it's a cool palette. I think it's gonna go pretty nicely with some of my other palettes. And I do think I'm gonna be able to create some awesome looks using it. Do I think it's like one of those you must have it, it's limited edition, you should go get it palettes? I really do not think so. But I will say, knowing Natasha Denona's formula and saying that I am somebody who loves Natasha Denona's formula. She is probably one of my favorite brands when it comes to eyeshadow palettes. I literally am obsessed with her formula. I am more than happy to have so many beautiful mattes from her. I have a lot of other browns from Natasha. I have some really deep colors that I would love to mix with this. Even like this top row with the Sunrise palette, I think is going to be beautiful. So to me, I am okay having all of these beautiful colors to add to my collection, but that's just personally because of the collection that I have. So at this point, you guys might be saying, oh, well, she doesn't like this palette, but that's not really the case. I actually do like this palette. I like it as an add-on to my personal collection, but of course, as a stand-on on its own, is it my favorite palette that she has released? No, it's not. It's not my favorite Natasha Denona palette, but I like it as a add-on to my collection. So that is my opinion on it. I want to know from you guys, if you picked it up, what are you thinking? Leave me those comments down below. Are you excited for the palette? Are you thinking you're going to be mixing it with another palette? Let me know your thoughts down below. Of course, this is my first impression. I'm going to be playing with this a lot more and, you know, trying to create some more looks for you guys and get some more thoughts. But for right now, that's what I'm thinking. And of course, like always, guys, I'm going to share with you guys quickly my Make Up Your Mind results. So this is the actual palette, and these are the colors I thought it was going to look like. Leave me down below in the comments. What do you guys think? How close do you think I got to this palette? Now, I'm also going to tell you guys for comparisons, besides the colors and what I found in my Make Up Your Mind, I do feel like I was kind of on the right track when I said that this is a very hard palette for me personally to duplicate. I don't really have anything like this in my collection or any palettes that I truly feel look very similar. I know a lot of people have been comparing it to the Mel Thompson release with Sydney Grace. I personally never bought that palette, so I can't really tell you. I don't really think there's many palettes out there with a very similar color story. All right, guys, so behind the scenes, I've already played with a lot of the colors, and I'm gonna kind of like just show you really quickly. I was playing with 2 different colors on different lids, and I was kind of just playing with all the colors together. I didn't finalize any of the looks because I wanted to do one main look, and you know, I really want to get this review out for you guys. So I was playing with a lot of the colors, so I already have a few thoughts that I'm going to be sharing with you guys, but I'm going to go ahead and do a main look for you guys so that you guys can follow along or you can get an idea. I'm going to start off with this neon looking green color, and of course this is going to be This is probably going to be a pretty fun looking color. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dab into this color right here, and I'm going to start creating that V. Then I'm going to try to grab this multi-chrome right here, the greenish looking one. I'm going to put this in the inner portion of the lid. I think I'm going to bring it all the way in. This really light matte minty color and put this in the inner portion. I'm going to kind of follow what I did before. This color, put it down first. Then I'm going to tight line with this deep green. It's a pretty good amount of fallout with the green. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of the multi-chrome in the inner portion, like right here. So with this brightest color, I'm just going to kind of bring it down my lower lash line a little bit. Then I'm going to have to put a little bit more concealer on because it does have pretty good fallout. All right, so that is where we're ending this. So I'm going to go ahead and put on some more concealer finish up the eyes. Everything's gonna change up with some mascara. Give me 1 second, I'll show you guys the final look. All right guys, and this is the final look. And honestly, I think it came out really, really pretty. So I'm really happy with the way that this look turned out. And of course, like always guys, I'm gonna go ahead and link this palette down below if you guys are interested in it. It is available right now at Sephora. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you are not part of my family already. I hope to see you again, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.